too.
Absolutely. Feel very good. Really pleased with our guys last night. They came out and jumped up early in the first quarter there, scored 14 points, and then I don't want to say we necessarily relaxed. Bishop Reed stepped up and made some plays there, but we had some miscues and kind of lulled there in the second quarter. But we came back in the third and scored another 13 and then another touchdown in the fourth to put us at 34-0 last night. Great job by our defense just all night. Defensively held Bishop Reed to 111 total yards. They were 2 of 11 passing for 10 yards and 29 carries for 101 yards. 2 interceptions last night. Tanner Holden, big interception. Great play. Got some pressure on the quarterback. He was kind of rolling to his left and threw back across the grain, and Tanner stepped in and made a great play. And then Xander Carmichael, huge interception, stepped in front of a receiver and was able to return that for 6. So great way to kind of cap off his season at his final game at Ed Miller Stadium with a pick 6, and but just a great performance by our kids.
I was talking last night with Dennis throughout the course of the broadcast and talked about how razor sharp your defense was, and they were certainly on point. And I know that there was that point in the ball game you could just tell that defense wanted that 0 on the board for Bishop Reed.
Absolutely, and you know, we've got some younger guys in there, and they were you could sense that those younger guys too were just like, gosh, we're not going to let these guys down, and they got after it, and even they're late in the game as they were kind of picking up some yards rushing. You know, our younger guys who's been standing over there the whole time. I mean, you throw them out there, but they were ready, and they prepared all week like our older guys have. But yeah, defensively, just outstanding performances last night. Avery Deneni, huge night with 8 tackles, 5 of those being solo. Evan Horsley had 4 tackles. Nick Parsley down on the line, golly, he had 9 tackles, a sack, a big pass deflection that he almost had a pick 6 himself, able to get those big paws up there and bat that ball and almost came down with it, but wasn't able to. But he was just a force all night, keeping the offensive line off our linebackers, and really making offenses have to stretch the ball out on the edge, and that forces it to our Avery Deneni and Evan Horsley out there on the edge. Justin Salyer's another one that's out there, does a great job. But in terms of leading tacklers, those guys were our leaders last night. Parsley with 9, Deneni with 8, Horsley with 4, Xander Carmichael had 3, Josh Henderson had 3, Evan Dom finished the night with only 1 tackle, but he was great inside presence, being able to slide back and forth and really force those players back into people, and did a good job last night. But our whole defense, in terms of how they prepared throughout the week, they really focused, and you're right, you could just see that sharpness that they had and recognition of what they needed to do and their alignment, and very pleased with their performance last night.
14-0 at halftime, and you came out and made a statement with that first quick score. But the most impressive thing I thought of the second half was I don't think you can go any farther on a drive to score a touchdown than what you had to do when they scored the 4th touchdown of the night. 99 yards and a half. I mean, the nose of the football had to be just outside the goal line, and you take it 99 and a half yards to score.
Yeah, coming out that second half, as you said, that was a chance for us we made some adjustments at halftime, really challenged our kids. The second quarter, again, we kind of had some miscues in some areas, and again, they stepped up and made some plays in terms of Bishop Reed did. But yeah, that drive of the second half, our offensive line, Ashton Clevenger running the ball, and Trent making some great decisions on some plays. Was able to just take it in and score, and then the following 99-yard drive, go up top to our big receiver, and he went up, and wow, did he make a play. There'll be some pictures, I'm sure, with Ruth Bowl, who does a great job snapping pictures. I'm sure she's got some shots. Terry Stevenson as well. I'm sure there'll be some shots of him getting up in the air and getting that ball because That was a huge play last night. But offensively, we were 18 of 26 passing for 237 yards, 2 touchdowns, 40 rushing attempts for 205 yards, 2 touchdowns, 442 total yards last night offensively. Some of our leaders, Tanner Holden had 5 catches for 92 yards and a touchdown. Cole Lowry had 8 catches for 84 yards. Bryson Keeney had 2 catches, big touchdown. What a play to start the game. Trent Sayers rolls out after getting a little bit of pressure. Something we practice all the time, and it's great to see our kids respond to the situations we try to put them in practice. When they turn around and do it in the game, and Trent finds Bryson Keeney in the end zone for a touchdown to start the game off. That was just a great play by Trent. Trent continued to do that all night, stepping up and making some key plays. There was a nice screen play where he kind of, one of the coaches mentioned, kind of like a Brett Favre, flipped the ball there to Cole Lowry, who was able to get up the field. As they were putting pressure on us at different times. Cam Howard had 2 catches last night for 21 yards. Mekhi Matthews had a catch last night. And then rushing football, Ashton Clevenger Trent Sayers led us with 11 rushes for 67 yards. Ashton also had 11 rushes for 58 yards. Cole Lowry, 4 carries for 19 yards and a touchdown. Xander Carmichael, after had a big catch. Xander had 2 catches last night, and one of them was on that drive that you mentioned to start that second half. Trent found him, recognizing what the defense was giving him, and he had a big catch. It got him down. I've never seen so many times that we have been on the inch line scoring ourselves, and Xander takes it in after that for a carry to score as well. But offensively, offensive line was continuing last night to make some adjustments. They had a real nice player on the line, number 75, who they've moved around at different times, and we were trying to recognize where he was, and our guys were coming off the ball and really working to get up on linebackers who were bouncing around at different times. So we had to make some in-game adjustments, and our guys responded to that real well, and really pleased with them. Jalen Miller was 4 of 5 last night. We did have one of those blocked on the extra point, and got to shore that up and make sure that we continue, because every point is going to be so important throughout the playoffs here. And trying to find some ways. We've always been a team that really places the ball in our kickoffs in different areas. We want to keep it away from their dangerous returners. 28 was definitely a shifty, fast returner that they had back there, but we're going to always continue to look for ways that we can improve in all facets of the game.
Well, you mentioned about Cole Lowry, big game offensively last night, and he's really uses that jab step, and he's got a make you miss factor about him. But he had a chance for a pick 6 last night too, and just couldn't pull it in.
Yeah, he did. What a break he had on the ball. Read it perfect, broke right in front of the receiver, and yeah, he just missed it right out of his hands, and that was a walk in the end zone if he does come up with that. But I think just that presence, that set a tone early in the game. There was another big play, Avery Denini, where he was able to make a nice play on the quarterback that I think really just kind of set the tone for things there early on. And our defense has continued to zero in and make a statement that they weren't going to let him in the end zone.
Moving forward now, it's going to be Columbus Academy, your next opponent. They get a 13-6 win over Union Local last night. What have you been able to ascertain on Columbus Academy, if anything, at this point?
Well, from my understanding, it was a late play in the ball game with about just under 4 minutes or something like that was able to put them ahead to go ahead of on the road against Union Local for the win last night. Their first playoff win, I think I read, since 2006. So they're really playing inspired. They're a team that opened up their season with Bishop Reedy early on and handled them pretty easily. 31-0 ball game to start things off. But going back and looking at that, we're trying to kind of assess where teams are with their week ones. But they're a team that has some definite athletes on there as we kind of start to look at who some of the players that are featured, throughout the Columbus area with recognitions, and there's some guys on that Columbus Academy team that are definite athletes that jump out at you. So we need to make sure that we kind of figure out what are they trying to do and where those guys are lined up, and make sure that we have our guys zeroed in this week.
As I was talking with Coach James Gifford there a few moments ago, what's your best guess as far as the venue?
I'm not sure if we'll stay on that 23 track and maybe go up to Chillicothe or Waverly even. I'm not sure distance-wise. I've kind of figured out that every time I try to guess and feel like I have a good feel for where it is, that's not where it ends up being. So I've given up on trying to narrow those down and pinpoint those. But you mentioned there East High School with a big win last night, West with a big win last night. The Lawrence County teams had some wins last night. So I know Southeastern had a win last night. So great to see the Southern Ohio schools performing in the playoffs, against all these other area teams. It just says a lot for our area and the quality of football that we have. So big congrats to those teams.
Well, Coach, congratulations on your victory last night over Bishop Ready. Another Columbus team on tap for you next week in the semifinal round of the region playoffs, and we wish you the best of luck, and we'll be with you wherever it is next Friday night on Mix 99.3.
You bet. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. That's Coach Rob Woodward of the Wheelersburg Pirates. His team getting a victory last night. We'll continue with the Saturday morning sports line.